Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Nitro Racing League here on NASCAR Heat 5. Hope you're all having a great day. Today we have Road America, which is the first round elimination race of the Nitro playoffs. We won the first race at Bristol for the playoffs, so we're already locked into the second round, so there isn't much for us to do in this race except try to get some playoff points, maybe try to pick up an extra victory to give us more playoff points going into the next round of the playoffs here. Now, so nothing really for us to be concerned about here. As I started down in 9th place, I actually crashed on my qualifying lap, which is very unfortunate. It is only a 30 lap race, so the race does end when we hit lap 31. Stage 1 comes to a close when we hit lap 9, and I think Stage 2 came to a close when we hit lap 17. So basically 8 laps for Stage 1 and 2, and then of course we run it out to the end of that third and final stage, which comes to a close at the end of lap 30 when we hit lap 31. So everybody going a little bit deep into this corner, including the 88 of Libert now, as I was just trying to play it safe. I knew that I had enough speed to win this race. Road course racing, of course, my strong suit when it comes to just racing in general, so I was just trying to play it cautious here, make sure we keep the car clean and not get into any trouble. Nearly a moment right there with the 14 of Mahu, definitely going to be one of our final 4 competitors if we can get that far. Now, as I would actually make a huge lunge into the left-hander, I was definitely overdriving some of the corners on the opening lap here, just trying to get a feel for the track, and then out of the penultimate turn down towards that final turn, you saw the 12 of Cameron make a mistake, and then Mahu actually overdrives the corner, allows myself to get a 2 for 1 there and move up into 5th place, and we wasted no time running down our teammate of Matt O'Brien. We also moved up in one more spot into 4th place, and then some contact with Matt. He was actually trying to let me go out of the carousel and then lost the car in the process, but we were already up into 3rd place after starting at the very back row, and then we waste no time. By the end of lap 3, we had run down our 2 teammates of Jonathan as well as Connor, and this is when I knew, I was like, we hands down have the speed to win this race. Unless something goes wrong, I don't see how we lose this race here in Road America. Jonathan, he would let me go on lap 4 down this long straightaway. He said, you know what, I'm not going to battle you. He saw the speed we had. He said, just go and take it. Then on the end of lap 5, now to the right-hand side of Connor in the 95, trying to take the lead here past the halfway point in this first and opening stage. He, of course, was going to put up a fight because he wants to go out here and win in Road America, especially last time we went to a road course at Watkins Glen. He had one of the best cars and unfortunately came up a little bit short of Andrew Wisdom in that race now, and we almost beat him as well, as we actually had a photo finish for that second spot, both of us going wide out of turns 1 right there, but we got the lead, and I was expecting to be able to drive away, and that's what I did. I drove away. Now to 2 laps to go. I started making some mistakes though here late in this first stage, and that was going to bring Connor back into the mix for that final lap. There was really no reason for me to be making silly mistakes at this point, as we were just cruising to a stage 1 victory and an extra playoff point, but I just couldn't help it right here. Now heading down towards that penultimate turn sideways, and that would be a big moment right there, allowing Connor to close up right to our back bumper here as we come through the left-hander. So that was concerning now, as we were under attack on this final lap of stage 2, and then the second turn I overshoot it, and that's going to give up the lead to the 95 of Connor now, as we have to try and run him back down and get the stage win here on this final lap of stage 1. And I just couldn't believe the amount of mistakes I was making here at the end of the stage. But now Connor, he would get a little bit sideways out of the right-hander, and then we would actually force it side by side here down towards this back half of the road course. Now as I go a little bit too deep, some contact with Connor, but we keep it as clean as we can, still side by side down into the carousel. I thought about letting him get clear right here, but I wanted to see if I could fight back on the left-hand side and maybe clear him. Didn't quite happen. He gets clear of myself with the clear advantage on the right side of the corner, and then he loses it out of the carousel though, and that allows me to take the lead back away, and we had enough of a gap right here where we could just finally cruise to the stage victory, and that's what we did. We came through to cross the line to win stage 1, another playoff point to our name here, and we would of course come into the pit lane for 4 tires, 2 cans of fuel. Unfortunately, I lost the lead on the pit stop and restarted second, but we got a really good launch right here. I don't know what it was about my restarts in this race, but I really had them down pretty well, and the restart zone was really short because we had to make up our own because there wasn't really an actual restart zone here in Road America. So we were down into turns 1 now. Everybody going deep into the corner. I get hit from behind from the 20 of Jonathan. Then I lose it out of turns 1. Sideways we go. The 10 gets into my left rear. Everyone's hitting each other at this point. And then I think there was an incident behind us as we go off into turns 2. So we go from battling for the lead down to P3. What a messy start that was now, is that all it takes is getting hit at the wrong spot, and then, well, around you go just about. And we thankfully, of course, saved it, but now have to try and run back down now in that 20 as well as the 95, which we have proven already we can do. So I wasn't too concerned now as I actually go way too deep into the corner and I slam into the side of Jonathan and shove him out of the way. I actually, in the party chat, was warning him. I realized I overshot the corner. I was like, Jonathan, watch out. I'm coming in at full steam, and I was trying to get him out of the way before I hit him. Unfortunately, he still took the corner normally, and I could do nothing about it at that point. I could have tried to turn further left and try to cut the course, but unfortunately, I drove right into the side of him. Thankfully, he wasn't too aggravated about that, but a caution would actually end up coming out here on lap 11 now. So that would force a restart here at the end of this first lap of stage 2, and we got back going here and actually got a really good launch with that 95 of Connor once again. So we get another attempt at being on that front row now. Jonathan thought about going 3 wide in the middle here. Of course, everyone being aggressive at Road America here in the turns. The thing is, the way Road America is designed is a 95 goes wide and we make contact out of turns 1 into the 20 we go, and we're all hitting everything again, and the 95 goes around. We keep it going, but now we're down to P7, and what I was about to say is you can't really be too aggressive into turn 1 at Road America on restarts without causing issues. So that's why I was trying to back out a lot of the times there, because it was really unnecessary and you look like an idiot if you punt someone into turn 1 or just get way too aggressive. So down this long straightaway, trying to try and make up all those spots we just lost here now, as we got cars going wide up there. The 12, the 14, we're now 3 wide with the 19 of Matt O'Brien and the 14 of Mahu, the 2 Matts. Now we made some contact right there. Then I actually get to the back of Chaffee. Now the 14 crosses us over here, and he's going to look to our left-hand side. I'm just surrounded by Matts. We got Chaffee in the 10, we got the 14, and then we got Matt O'Brien in the 19 here. But now we would settle in and focus on passing that number 10 car. So down into the right-hander, the heavy braking zone, we would be able to complete that pass. Interesting situation. Matt Chaffee is in a must-win situation to get into the next round of the playoffs, and he hasn't won all season long here now as we come through to lap 13. The 12 goes wide of Cameron, so did I, but I would actually get through there still better and make a move up the left-hand side here, and now we move up into that runner-up second position. So now trying to run down Jonathan here in the closing laps of the second stage, and by the end of the same lap, we actually got to him, and he didn't want any part of it. He just pulls over to the side and says you can go right on by, and I appreciated it now, and to the lead we went once again here in Road America, and that was pretty much it. We come through now towards the end of the stage, out of the final turn down the front straightaway. This was the last lap here in stage 2, coming through down this front straightaway. An easy stage win there for us, and that's going to be sweeping stage 1 and stage 2, which sometimes isn't a very good sign for how the rest of your race is going to go when you sweep the first 2 stages in the Nitro Racing League. So I was a little bit concerned about that. We were the control car for the next restart to start the third and final stage. About 12 laps to go in this race. A guaranteed pit stop on the way, potentially under green flag conditions, depending if we get a caution or not. So Chaffee lining up behind me, the 20 of now Jonathan on our left hand side as we go down into turns 1. I got hit from behind just a little bit by the 10 car, but we got through there safely and cleanly. Now, speaking of clean, it wasn't very clean in the back though. Everybody was all over the place. Once again, it is so dangerous in the back part of the course. Now contact behind us there as the 88's going to go around. It looks like he does actually save it, but unfortunately a little bit later on, or just moments later, a caution would actually end up coming out. So we would all have to back the pace down and get ready to go for another restart. So we were the control car once again. We didn't complete a full lap, which means no pit stops allowed, and we go right back to racing. Once again, Chaffee behind us and Jonathan on the left side. He did not get a good launch, Jonathan did, in the 20 car. So now it's just myself out front here down towards turns 1, and we're actually going to get punted from the 10 of Chaffee, and he's going to deliver the final blow there and just shove us out of the way and put us in an awkward position now as we lose the lead down into P3. So a desperate move, and from a desperate driver at that point in a must-win situation. I'll be honest, I did lose quite a bit of respect for Chaffee from that move after defending him for Darlington, what happened to him, and racing him clean always here in the Nitro Racing League. I definitely was not happy with that move from him now, and actually you're going to see as we go down towards that sharp left-hander, I actually overbrake the corner and I almost hit the 20 of Jonathan, and then we just make things worse here, and now we're back down to like 6th place after that whole moment right there. And it would have been fine if we didn't get punted from behind, because we would have been in a completely different situation, but Chaffee just completely screwed up our whole race here now as we have to try and fight back now as they're going at it in front of us between the 95 of Connor and the 12 of Cameron, as I decided to force it 3 wide into the corner here, and I overshot that, and I was driving really aggressive because my main goal was to get back to the 10 and try to take his chances of getting to the next round away, basically. So unfortunately it didn't get any better. I wrecked myself myself here on the end of lap 20. Around I went. We got hit by the 14, but it was only myself that actually went around, so the caution didn't come out. So we were now about 10 seconds behind the leader of Jonathan. So I knew we had our work cut out for us because we were coming to 10 laps to go. So we have to gain at least a second per lap as the 14 of Mahu goes spinning onto the final turn. But we had a lot of work ahead of us, and I was motivated at least because I was like, I got to get to that 10 car and make sure he doesn't win this race just to get back to him. So unfortunately, it didn't look like it was going to happen, but we did gain a lot of time. It was down to 8 seconds already on lap 22, and I decided at the end of lap 22, everybody has to make a green flag pit stop. I decided to pit here on lap 22. Jonathan did 4 tires, 2 cans of fuel. I took only half a can of fuel as well as 0 tires. I knew that was my only opportunity to really make this situation work, and sure enough, it was working very well because we were way out in front of Jonathan. And I knew that even on older tires, I would be able to be the fastest car on the track still, just with how my confidence is at Road America. And sure enough, Matt Chaffee comes into the pit lane, and we are going to be out in front of him. The only car that beats us out is the 95 of Connor. So now I knew, okay, we have to get past him. The 19 of Matt O'Brien, he's trying to stretch it to the end of this race here on both fuel and tires. It's going to be close for him, but we would get past the 95 of Connor. We actually made contact there out of the left-hander. Fortunately, it didn't turn into an incident, but now the focus was, can we run down Matt O'Brien here from second place in the closing laps now to the end of lap 27? You can see he is now within our actual view. He's about 5 seconds in front of us. That sounds like a lot in 3 laps, but it was easily able to be made up from myself here in the end of this race. But now on the end of lap 28, continuing to close in on the back of that 20 car, he gets closer and closer. Sorry, the 19 car. I'm used to Matt, of course, still being in that 20 car, but I overshoot the corner, and we're actually going to lose grip out of the turn, and it all comes to a crashing halt here. What was about to be, I think, the drive of my Nitro career turns into potentially one of the biggest chokes of my Nitro racing career instead, as the 10 car goes by, and we end up wrecking ourselves again because now the tires were overheated and I could barely keep the car going in a straight line. So we had to cool those tires down as quick as I could, but it was only 2 laps to go in this race, and Matt O'Brien was still leading, but he was losing time at an incredible rate because he's saving his tires and saving fuel, I believe, as well. So he's just hanging on for dear life. As you can see, I am as well hanging on for dear life. Finally, we get the car going in a straight line and get back on our way. If I didn't lose the car where I did, I think we still could have won the race because I would have been a lot better at managing the tires, but we cut straight through to the final lap. Unfortunately, Chaffee had gotten to the lead and won the race, and now we come through out of the final turn and head down this front straightaway, and we're going to come through to finish in 6th place here in the elimination race of the round of 1. So at least we're into the next round, no problems whatsoever. I was very frustrated, of course, actually, after this race. After the checkered flag, my tire had blew out, so I just sailed it off into turns 1 and ended up putting the car on its roof. Didn't know you could flip at Road America, but, well, you learn something new every day. Congrats to Matt Chaffee, though, on the win. Of course, I wasn't a huge fan of how it happened, being on the receiving end of him in turn 1 on the final restart, but here is the grid going into the next round of the playoffs, because this is the last round before the final 4 is set, so we are good by 16 points. So that's not safe by any means. 3 races, easily can give up 16 points. So we just need to be consistent is all we have to do, and I think we'll be comfortably inside the next round. So if you guys enjoyed, you know what to do. I'd like to thank you all for taking the time of your day to watch this episode, and I will see you guys in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.